Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page, where I do a daily live stream show regarding and about the divination card or oracle card that I draw in the morning. And the card is actually helps us to see, sense, feel, or see the energy that's most important for us to know about today. But it also sparks the spiritual conversation, which, you know what, is so much fun. So much fun to have that with Star Nation's community for those in our community who show up for the live stream show and in the chat room. I enjoy it. I don't know about you guys, but it's fun for me. And I try to be here every day. There's a certain days that I'm not, but I've been here almost every day since the beginning of May in 2018. So, yay. So, today is Monday, February 25th. And I have to say that here in Toma, Wisconsin, where I live, it's a day of recuperating from the last snowstorm we had. And it was a doozy, let me tell you. We almost lost power yesterday. So if you were with me with the live stream yesterday, and it went, the screen went black, and trying to get back into the studio, the power here flickered. And when it did that, it took out our cable for just, not even a minute. But it takes a little time to come back around and try to get back in. So if you're watching or had watched the recorded show from yesterday, that is why we had a little bit of a, technical difficulty that it wasn't anything we could do anything about, right? So, but we did the best we could. We did. So before we get rolling with the card for the day, I'm going to like and share our broadcast. And we do this every day practically. And I'm going to find our live stream. And on the main fan page, here we are. I'm going to like it, and I'm going to share it over to my news feed. And so that my friends know that I am live streaming. And I'm live streaming right now. And please join me. And there we go. And we'll post that. There we go. That's done. Thank you so much for sharing. Some of you have already done that. If I could ask those who haven't to please to help us to do that. It helps us to be in the newsfeed a little bit more often on Facebook. And you know how much information comes into Facebook. Oh my goodness. Something will get posted and get buried, within the next minute or two. And so it's very helpful. Especially for those individuals, those souls who are seeking, right? They're looking for the information. And do you remember what that was like when you first woke up to your spiritual path? Yeah, we're like sponges, weren't we? We read everything. We tried to get our hands on every YouTube we could watch, every internet radio show, every now live stream show. And so it's just helpful. It really is. And so thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. So I'm going to see who's all in the chat here. There's a lot going on. Oop, gotta scroll all the way down to the bottom. And it looks like our Star Nation's social media manager, Stephanie Williams, is hard at work. She's got so many posts for us to take a look at, helping us to get the word out about the classes and the shows. And this week we got a lot going on. We do. So she's got it all there for you guys if you want to read it through it. It's a nice place to be able to find the information. Yeah. Hey, Rochelle's here. Rochelle Lottie, how low, she says. We have 3 to 5 foot snow drifts. Roads are icy. Had to cancel my PT and doctor's appointment. Stay warm. Yes. That's what I meant about recuperating. Yesterday, we had such high winds. And road closures. I had felt so bad for our little town of New Grange here. Isn't that something? That's the township I live in, New Grange. The guys who work in the township and do the snow removal and all kinds of other stuff for us in the township, they worked 14 hours yesterday trying to keep the main roads open. And after 14 hours, they finally got a break to go home and get some sleep. And as soon as they did, all the roads, were shut again with drifting snow. And so they were hard at it again today. I noticed they've been through here a couple of times. The wind is not nearly as strong as it was yesterday. Cold. I woke up to -4 this morning. And our high, I think, is 23 degrees or something like that. So, yeah, it's cold and icy. Yes, definitely, Rochelle, because we were kind of in between. South of us, they had a lot more rain and freezing rain. Okay, and then it turned into snow. Here we had that mixture. It would snow, it would drizzle, it would snow, it would drizzle. So we were kind of in between. And then north of us, they got the snow. And I'm going to tell you, they got, I don't know, 10 or 12 inches of snow. So we were kind of on the edge. And that means that we had a lot of icy roads. Yeah. So, the crews are out trying to get it cleaned up. And yeah, so I'm not going anywhere today again. Talk about cabin fever. I can't wait to get back up to the Star Nations Academy to start live streaming from there. Be a different way to look at things anyway. Different perspective. Yeah, so a little cabin fever going on. And trying to stay warm, yes, it's definitely cold out there. And Rochelle says she shared. Thank you so much, Rochelle. You're so good at that. We appreciate it. And Julie's here. Julie Shumway Hill is here. Yay, Julie. Rob says he's not here. He's camouflaged. We can't see him. Welcome, Rob. It's always good to have you in the chat, too, with your sense of humor. Love it. Kimberly's here. Yay, Kimberly. Did you know that Kimberly comes to us all the way from Scotland when she comes into the chat? Yeah. So it's actually nighttime there for her. Yeah. So, Kimberly, thank you so much for being with us. Certainly appreciate you being here and giving your perspective of the things that we talk about here. Rochelle says, I posted some videos on Facebook. You did? I haven't seen it. I've been working pretty hard this morning. I met with a guest that's going to be my guest on March 5th to get her all set up with Be Live TV and talk about a few things, to get her prepared. Been working on the magazine. And something pretty exciting. We have another class offering. Yep, we finally got everything pulled together for the Animal Communication Level 1 class with Leslie Serenesi. She's going to be here April 27th and 28th. It's 2 jam-packed days of learning how to communicate with your pets and also with your friends and family's pets. So it's going to be very hands-on and learning lots of new skills and techniques. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to communicate with animals or feel that you have that gift and would like to have some mentoring to learn a little bit more in depth about things, Leslie's going to be here in April. Yay. Yay, yay, yay. I, was working on the promotions and we got everything, all the little bits and pieces pulled together for it. And it's now listed on the website. And the 2 ladies that are helping me, thank goodness, Julie Shumway Hill, who is the Academy manager, she'll be listing it on the closed group in the Academy. And Stephanie Williams, who's our social media manager, she'll be taking it all over, all over social media land. And so if you're interested, I hope you guys come. I do. This will be the first time Leslie's going to teach here at the physical school academy. And so it will be fun. Yeah. And Rob says from the Bonnie Scott. Yes, exactly. Oh my goodness, Tyler Kelly's here. He's my nephew. Hello, nephew. How have things been? I hope to see you soon. Me too. It would be fun. Come up and see your Oma. See where she's living. Yeah, I think you'll like it. Um, it's of course different. It's different, but I think she's doing pretty well there. And so yeah, come on up. I know it's kind of a long drive for you, but it'll be great to see you. And I've never met your wife. You guys were up here, and I think I was in Michigan teaching, if I remember right. So it'd be fun. Yeah, come up as soon as you can, Ty. Okay. Let's see what else. This is great. All right, let's talk about the divination card. Actually, it's an oracle card. And like I said, I got the temporary studio here in my meditation room because of the weather. We've been up here for a few days, haven't we? And then so the official studio is up at the Star Nations Academy, and so half my stuff is still up there. And so the really cool picture of the cards that we're using is still up there. I have the book, however. And so what we're using is the Druid Animal Oracle deck by Stephanie and Philip Cargome, illustrated by Bill Worthington. And so they're coming to us from the UK, from England to be specific. And so we're learning quite a bit about Druidry, wouldn't you say? I am, because what I knew about it was about this much. And the cards were actually gifted to me by Mervyn Kelly. And Mervyn happens to be one of our live stream show hosts here at Star Nations. His show is called From Star to Stone, and it's on the second Tuesday of every month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. He's from England. So for him, it's like mid-afternoon for him on the second Tuesday of every month. Now, what I enjoy about all of this is that we have so many different perspectives about spirituality here at Star Nations. And it's not about changing anybody's mind or changing somebody's belief systems or anything like that. It's just to be able to offer information about a topic that you may not be either familiar with, or you're familiar with it, but from a different perspective. Right. And so it helps us to broaden our information and also to deepen, I believe, our spirituality. So yeah, it's been so much fun. I'm actually learning how to speak a bit of Gaelic, animal words, right? What they're called in Gaelic. I'm probably not doing the pronunciation justice, but I'm trying. All right. So here is the card that came today. We only got one card. All right. We haven't had this one before, and it's horse. And in Gaelic, ek. It's spelled EACH in Gaelic, but pronounced ek. Horse. And at first I thought this was a white horse, and but it's a little bit on the gray side of white. Full sun. I've got the knoll in the background, and see if I can get the camera. There we go, to focus. On the hillside in the background, you can see a drawing of a horse kind of etched into the hillside. And there's so many things going on in this picture. Of course, we have the horse. One eye kind of covered by his forelock, his mane. Tail is up. And looks like he has at least 2 feet, maybe 3, on the ground. Yeah. And here we got stone people here that's got etchings in them. That one looks like a key. And on the other side of that, There's some sort of emblem with above it is an etching of a horse. Yeah. Of course, plants in the foreground. And literally, I think the horse, well, at least with his left eye, is looking straight on at us. Yeah. Yeah. Horse. So, like we've always done with every other card, is what do we know about horse? What do we know about horse? And as I was sitting with the card this morning, I was thinking about that. And a lot of things went through my mind. The first thing that popped into my mind is, my parents, and I don't know what happened to the picture. My suspicion is that one of my nieces have it. But there's a picture of me as a toddler, and my dad has me on the back of a pony. My dad loved horses. Loved horses. We had horses for a little while. While they're expensive to keep, right? Lots of food. But I didn't like being on that horse. Didn't like being on that pony. The picture has me literally having a breakdown. I'm just crying, and you could see how upset I was. And whenever I looked at that picture, I thought, why? Why would they put me on a horse if that was my reaction, right? And I have to say that I did have a fear of horses for a really long time. And when I realized that, because my brothers had horses, my older brothers had horses, and I didn't spend a lot of time with them. I would go out and watch them when they were riding, but I didn't ride. Yeah. And I didn't know what that was all about. Now we have to fast forward in several decades. And I would say I was in my 40s, early 40s, when I realized, this is kind of silly. I don't have a whole lot to do with horses, but what is this really about, right? This intense fear of them. And so I went to a lady who did past life regression. And at a referral to me from a good friend of mine. It was a friend of hers, right? And so I went and did this regression. Well, in this regression, I was a Native American man and a leader of my clan, and spent a lot of time with the people and not much time with my family. My family were always the last one to get any part of my attention, right? And I could see that in that past life, and how much it hurt my children, how much it hurt my wives, plural. And I saw myself sitting on horseback, looking over like a small valley. I can't even call it that, because a valley would make it sound like it was huge, but it wasn't. It wasn't big at all. And there was a battle going on, and I was to be joining this battle. And so I rode the horse down the hill, and I'm in the battle. Well, the next frame I remember is that I died in that battle, but it's not because I was necessarily mortally wounded. My horse was. And when we fell, the horse fell on top of me. And feeling the weight of the horse and the pool of blood from it and my own injuries. And so anyway, I died out on that open plain and in this tiny little valley. But that's where the fear of horses came from. And so I was able to work through that. And we had some friends of ours in the National Guard. They had horses, and we went to go visit them. And the mayor had a foal, had a baby, and our friend, she was talking to me, and we were walking out in the field with the horse, right? Yeah. So we get out there, and the mayor is nudging me with her muzzle, and the baby is running around. And I start to share with my friend about this fear, right? And she goes, what? And I tell her, and she goes, we got to get you out of this field. And she goes, come with me. And I said, okay, but why? And she says, well, number one, babies have no boundaries. The cult was going to, they do what they want to do when they want to do it. It's the mother that kind of teaches them about boundaries. And she goes, and I don't want you to get in between the mayor and her baby when she has to, discipline her child. And so anyway, she walks me out of the field and she goes, oh my God. She goes, you should have told me that before we went into the field. I said, I didn't know it made any difference. I said, I was testing it out. And I said, the mayor came right up to me and I wasn't afraid. Would I ride her? Probably not. But it wasn't, yeah. So anyway, I faced a fear of horse. Now, horse is also about independence, freedom, independence and freedom. Yeah. And I do know, because horse is not indigenous to Turtle Island, to Native America. They came in with the Spaniards. And horse definitely changed the life of Native American ancestors. It changed their life. It changed how they fought. It changed everything. Gave us, transportation to go much further distances and that sort of thing. So horse is the energy and the spirit of horse can bring freedom. So that's the little bit that I know about horse. Other than making a drum with horse, is also another thing that I've done. Hey, Valerie's here. Hello, Valerie. Hello. And Sunny is here saying, how are you? I'm doing good. How are you, Sunny? Glad you're here with us. And this is the card that was drawn this morning. And every morning, and I've been doing this for years, is that I draw a card to see what kind of energy that's important, that's flowing today, that we should know about, right? To help us to understand the energy of the day. And so then I just started sharing that card or that draw on the live streams. Yeah. So, and it helps to spark a spiritual conversation, which is what I really like. I enjoy it. I hope you guys do too. So with horse, it's in other continents and other lands, horse has been around for a really, really long time. Not so much in the United States, not so much in Indian country, but in other areas like Spain, right? They've been there for a really, really long time. Like Saudi Arabia. They've had horses there for a really, really long time. Now, with the event of horse here in the United States, especially in the Southwest, the Comanche Nation, they're called the Lords of the Plain. They're the ones who really connected and bonded with horse, and horse definitely changed the Comanche way of life. That is for certain. Yeah. Right. Rob is saying the greatest cavalry warriors the world has ever seen belong to the world's largest empire, and the first to grant freedom of religion, the Mongolian. Yeah, they had horses too, right? Right. Yeah, and freedom of religion. Yeah, and if we look at this card, the information or the essence, the spirit about horse and what's on the card, right? We have a full sun. It's like it's not quite high noon, but it's definitely in the fuller part of the day. The sun. And so one of the things that we do here is that showing you the card, it's like, what was your first part of the card that drew you. The first thing that you thought, oh, look at that. And then how did you feel? What feelings came to you? You know? And I have to say, the first thing that I noticed were the etchings on the big stone to the left of the horse. And the second thing I noticed is that the horse was looking at us with only one eye because the other eye is covered. Yeah. Horse. Rochelle says that the first thing that she saw was the sun. The sun. She said, I squinted my eyes like it was blinding, right? It was really bright sun, very bright. And Rob is saying their ace in the hole was their superior bows and the ability to shoot accurately in apparent retreat. So they use the bow as well. Long bow, right? I gotta open it in order to drink my water. And you know, this is the Mongolian. The shamans of Mongolia, okay, they're part. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them are part of the Sami people, because the Sami people range from ocean to ocean. They go from like Finland and Norway. They go east up to the Ural Mountains, and then on the other side of the Ural Mountains, the Sami people continue. And they go all the way to the ocean. And they're along the southern border of Russia and the northern border of Mongolia, right through there. And the Mongolian Sami, the journey work that they do, they use a drum, but they use horse. Yes, they use horse hide. And not all Sami people do shamanic journey. And shaman actually is a part of their indigenous language, right? And they say that well, you know, and I've shared this with you, is that the translation or the loose translation from the Sami language to English for the word shaman is one who travels in the dark, right? And what they do is they also use the beat of the drum to do that journey, right? It's a very fast beat. And the drum that they use is made from horse hide. And they say that they're riding the spirit of the horse into the next world, the next spiritual realm, the next dimension. Okay. And so they use horse to do that kind of traveling, the spirit of horse. Isn't that interesting? And then Rob is talking about, you know, the freedom, right? The freedom from religion for the Mongolian warriors, the Mongolian people. I find that fascinating. Got to scroll down just a little bit. Hi, Tanya's in the chat too. She goes, hi, Neshi, the horse is strong energy. He appears to be in quick motion. Yes, almost, you know, that you can see that forward momentum, right? That forward movement. And especially with the movement of the tail. And for those horse people that are in the audience, because I know there are some, what does it mean when a horse has his tail up like that? Because it does mean something. I'm not sure exactly what it means. But thank you for sharing that, Tanya. And Rob says, the bows put the Japanese and European counterparts to shame. Well, you know, that's probably kind of where they got the use of the longbow, because a longbow wasn't in Ireland or Scotland. That came from England. That came from the Brits. So where did the Brits get it from? Right? I bet Rob knows about that. And Kimberly saying the first thing that I felt was the strength and power of the horse. The strength and power of the horse. And at first I thought the horse was white, right? And in some belief systems, the white horse represents spirit. They're called ghost horses, right? Spirit horses, because of the color, and that they're connected to spirit more so than other horses. Rob says Genghis Khan was himself an animist, though his mother was a Christian. I didn't know that. I didn't know his mother was a Christian. Interesting. And he adds that the royal court would hold debates similar to the Greek symposiums of old, though wine was replaced with fermented mare's milk. Yeah, that Genghis Khan guy. He changed the world a lot, didn't he? Yeah, he added to that change, that shift. So let's find out. Let's find out what the author says about horse. Okay. The words that Philip Cargome relates to horse, or ek in Gaelic, is the goddess, the land, and travel. Goddess, the land, and travel. The card shows a gray mare with the chalk hill figure of a white horse of Uffington, Oxfordshire, in the background. In the foreground, we see the mare's peas, also known as bog bean, and horsetail growing to the left, horseshoe vetch. Carved on one rock is the symbol of a key, and on the other, a mounted warrior. The sun is prominent in the sky above. So there's the mounted warrior. And there's the key. With the sun prominent high in the sky. So the author goes on to say that the spirit of Ek calls us to journey, to travel. This may manifest itself as a desire to travel in the physical world, or we may be drawn to voyaging in the inner realms. She brings us energy and speed, and connects us to the power of both the land and the sun. So connects us to Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky. The horse goddess is patroness of the complete life cycle of birth, death, the afterlife, and rebirth. I'm going to say that again because I think that's an important sentence. It says the horse goddess is the patroness of the complete life cycle of birth, death, the afterlife, and rebirth. After working with the spirit of Ek, we will grow to feel comfortable with every aspect of the life cycle, knowing that the goddess protects and guides us through each of its stages. Now, the card did not come to us in reverse, but I'm finding that there's aspects of the reverse meaning that's very helpful for us to understand the essence of the card, okay? So Philip says, drawn in reverse, this card may be asking us to look at the roots of our restlessness. To look at the roots of our restlessness. If we have difficulty settling down, staying in one place, or completing tasks, it may be that we have not fully accepted the flow of the life cycle and our part within it. Attuning to the spirit of the horse may help us to connect with our sense of place in the world, with the spirit of the land beneath us and the sky above. Okay, so in my world, they're talking about grounding. Okay, now I wish Tina were in the chat because she probably could help us with this. The Osheti Sakoi, the Sioux Nation, the Lakota people, the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota people Um, they believe that the horse is sacred, right? And that the horse actually teaches us to be grounded, but also connected to Grandfather Sky. That just riding the horse will connect us to both. Because they have their 4 feet on the ground on Grandmother Earth, but their head and their tail, when the tail is up, is it connecting us to Grandfather Sky, and also to the Creator. And so they believe that it's the connection between heaven and earth. All right. So to me, Philip is writing about another way of being grounded, another way of grounding, which leads to a good question, right? We ask you guys this every day through social media, and at least a few times a week during the live stream show. Who is or has done their grounding for today? Because remember, the grounding, most techniques or methods last about 12 hours, depending on what you ingest, whether it's in food, in what you're listening to, and what you're watching. If it's a lower vibration, it's going to weaken the field of your grounding and your protection. So that's a good question to ask the audience, those in the live chat, who has done their grounding today? And Rochelle just saw the triple number 333. Do you remember what that's about, Rochelle? Those triple numbers. Let me get the picture up, okay? Let me see if I can find it. I've got quite a few pictures in our album now. As I wait for you guys to answer the question, who's done their grounding for today? And if you haven't, that's all right. We'll just give you a couple minutes to do that. Here we go. And we'll take a look at that triple threes. Get it up on my phone. I wonder, I'm going to go back one. Do this here. Oop, got to turn down my sound. That would be good. All right. Trying to get the triple threes up. It's about making a decision. Well, I know I have it. It's just that I have a lot on my notes. Gotta scroll through. It's about making a decision. I know that. And the decision, once you make the decision and your next triple number that you see will tell you if you're starting over with a new opportunity around the same issue, or you've completed it. And rats. I know I have it. It's just I have so much in this thing. Oh, here it is. All right, so triple threes is the decision you have. You have a decision to make. The decision will lead to either a 666 or a 999. The 666 means that you must repeat the lesson again in some other way. The triple nines means that it's completed and that you've learned the lesson. And so what I've learned how to do with that is, Rochelle, is to ask my spiritual team, what aspect of my life am I needing to make a decision about? And then I just go down family, friends, business, and just to get what area of my life am I making decisions about? Yeah. All right. So let's see who grounded. Rob is going on with the longbow. First recorded use on the British Isles by the Welsh, from the source I found. Okay, well, yeah. And Rob grounded today. Yay! Thank you, Rob, for doing that. And Kimberly, Yes, done. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, Kimberly. Rochelle, time to ground. Take a couple seconds here and do your grounding. You know how to do it. Um, yeah. And so for those who haven't grounded, now it's just a nice, gentle reminder that when we ground, um, we're more stable, we're balanced, we're connected to Grandmother Earth. Um, and that when it comes to decision making, we're in a better way to be able to make good decisions, right? And you're prepared. You're prepared for the day so that those things that may shock you, may knock you off balance, aren't going to knock you completely off balance, and you're still going to be able to deal with the situation in a better way. Hey, Julie did too. Thank you, Julie. And everybody who does grounding changes the vibration around them. Hmm. It's much calmer. It's not as chaotic. Not as chaotic. But horse can help us with grounding. That's what Philip is writing about. Yeah, traveling across Grandmother Earth and connected to Grandfather Sky. Grounded. You know, also he writes that horses have been a symbol of wealth. So the more horses you own, the wealthier you are. And I think that still holds true today, don't you? Because to have a lot of horses, you have to have some money to be able to take care of them. Um, Horses eat a lot. And if you don't have them in an open field to be able to eat, from the grass, you're going to have to get them some sort of food, right? And you need to take care of them. They're not that much different than having a dog or a cat as a pet. That they still need fresh water, they still need food, they still need medical attention now and again. And so to be able to take care of them. Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you so much for doing that. Yeah, it's good stuff. He also writes that the horse is sacred and brings good fortune, as it has to be protected from the evil eye with horse brasses. And there they're talking about how the Romans actually, pre-Roman in Great Britain, and how they would protect their horses. And when they did the protection for the horses, that meant that their area was also protected. The most interesting thing that Philip writes about is the gateways of birth and death. He says that in the Druid tradition, the time of Beltana, of mating in May, symbolizes the gateway for the soul to enter the world. And the time of Samhain, the death, at the other side of the year in November, symbolizes the gateway for the soul to leave the world. Okay, so I got to pause there for a second, because on the medicine wheel, which is right behind me, on the medicine wheel, we believe the same thing, is that in the east is the new beginning coming into the world. And as we walk our way west, which is the black or blue road of life lessons, gaining our wisdom, we leave through the western door when we walk on. When our soul or our spirit leaves the physical body, right? And so in the beginning, in the east, is May, right? And in the west is October. Actually, I think that's April and October. And so what we're doing is it's one gateway to the other. So basically, those that study the medicine wheel, and there's lots of different versions of it, perspectives, is that we come into the east and we leave from the west. Portals. The horse goddess opens the gates of life at Bealtana, allowing in a great flood of ebullient energy, which makes men feel like stallions and makes women referred to them as studs. As the gates are closed at Samhain, she carries the soul to the afterlife, back to the summer lands to be renewed again. Okay, so the horse goddess opens the gateway in the east and closes the gateway in the west. I find that fascinating. He goes on to write that the association of the horse goddess with the life cycle of birth, death, afterbirth, and rebirth is confirmed when we discover that the ritual hobby horses are ridden either at Samhain or Bealtaine. And so they're talking about the ceremonies that are done by the Druids and by the Celts during those times of year. And Bealtaine, when you see it written, most times spelled, it looks like Beltane, but it's not. It's Bealtaine. And Samhain looks like Samhain, but it's not. It's Samhain. And so they're on the opposite sides of each other. One is the coming in of life, and the other one is the leaving of life. Yeah. Rob is saying it also provides energetic protection per Amantha Murphy. Yes, it does. It certainly does. That Amantha Murphy, I kind of miss her. I need to get a hold of her and have a nice chat with her. Philip also writes that as well as symbolizing the power of the land, the horse also had a close affinity to the sun. Whether allied with god or goddess, the horse provides us with the power and ability to journey in this world and in the next. The ability and power to journey. The horse the horse does indeed provide us with the means to transcend the limitations of mortality. You know, and there's so many people that I know that do enjoy riding horses, and they have horses, and they say there's one thing that is the best feeling is when you're connected to your horse, and you give them their head. In other words, they're taking the reins, and they're running, and it's like flying. They say there's a sense of freedom to that. And do you ever notice that when we're talking about cars or vehicles and the engines, and we talk about it as being horsepower, and that still comes from when we used horses, right? When we rode horses and the use of horses in wagons, pulling, you know, the horsepower. How many horses does it take to pull, you know, a certain kind of wagon with a load, right? And so we're still using that that language in modern day, talking about horsepower. Mm-hmm. And Rochelle's saying, back in my younger years, my dad would take us to the racetrack, played the ponies. I would pick out horses for him. Ah, such good memories, huh? And the horses won, she says. So you were his good luck charm. Well, you know, my Misho, my grandfather, my mom's dad, had horses. He grew up in Kansas. And so, and they were around horses all the time. In fact, when he would go from Kansas to Wisconsin and back, it was always on horseback. And he talks about, you know, crossing the Great Plains on his horse, who was his companion, protection. Talk about a fighting horse, right? Because my grandfather was at one time was a bounty hunter, and so his companion, his second, right, was his horse. And so riding across the Great Plains on horseback, and he'd say what through the tall grass prairie, where you could just barely see the ears of the horse, right? And he's on top of the horse, so he could see above the grass to see where they were going. But he said it was like the grass is like an ocean, and how it moves with the wind. But riding on horseback that way. And my grandmother on my mom's side, my maternal grandmother, they say that she was a good horsewoman. that she had a connection to horse and she rode well, right? Um, yeah, and she grew up in here in Wisconsin, Ho-Chunk. Um, yeah, so the connection to horse isn't all that as a main transportation as part of your way of life is only a generation away from me. It's my mom's generation that was kind of in between. And my mom didn't ride horses, didn't have much to do with horses, but she knew about horses because my grandparents had horses when she was young. Yeah. So it's just an amazing the influence that horse has on our lives, on our um, ancestors' lives, right? Yeah. Rob is saying automobiles are the width of two horses. The standard for roads has never changed. Yeah. Hmm. I was just thinking about that width. I think it depends on country roads or on superhighways. It's a little bit different. All right. So what do you suppose the spirit, the spirit of horse, the medicine of horse, why do you suppose they came to us today? Right? I liked what Tanya said about when she looked at the horse, because that drew her attention first. That movement and motion. With the bright sun illuminating our path, right? We can see very clearly as we're moving forward. Maybe even with a sense of freedom. Heading in a direction that we can see pretty well. So whatever decisions that you've made about maybe starting a new project, remember our card from yesterday was the stag, and it was about some of it was about starting new beginnings, right? New beginnings, because it was a part of the East. New beginnings, maybe starting new projects. Yeah, maybe some of the decisions that you made recently leading you down a certain path of, sometimes we have those decisions to make, right? On our journey here. Are we going to take the left? Or are we going to take the right? Both are good with different experiences on both of them. But with this particular card, that our path is well illuminated by the full sun as we move forward. That sense of freedom. And perhaps we can even tap into the color of the horse. And we're talking about being spirit, a spirit animal, right? That sense of freedom that Ek can give us. That Gaelic word, if I pronounced it correctly, Ek. That we have an ally. And that's another good question, is that how many people in the chat have horse as a power animal? I do. As a power animal. Yeah. And horse for me, a power animal, it didn't come in until I think it was 2016. He's still with me, helping me. Yeah, I'll tell you about that sometime. Stephanie is saying, not something I admit publicly, but I chose the first college I attended because they had horses. Well, there is that, right? Why not? Why not? If that was a deciding factor. Rob says chariots and wagons were led by teams of two wide. That's true. That's true. Yeah. I was just thinking about that double, that two wide. Yeah. So that's my take on it. My feelings about it is that the spirit of horse or the medicine of horse giving us that sense of freedom, and with the sun, that connection between grandmother earth and grandfather sky, being connected to both. And as the sun illuminates our path, we can see clearly. It's full illumination. So whatever decisions you've made recently, or maybe you're feeling like, I don't know which way I'm going here. I don't know if I decided right. Spirit could be telling you that you're on a good path. Keep going. You can even ask for assistance from your team, your spiritual team. Ask them to illuminate your path. Show me that I'm on the right path here. Help you to make some decisions too, huh? So, good one. So, anything that we talked about today about horse and the spirit of horse, about the card, if it resonated with you, my suggestion is to embrace it and to sense, feel, see how the energy unfolds around you today, and where this information about horse can come into play for you, can help you, even by calling on the spirit of horse to show you the way, right? Help you to move forward, and that forward momentum. And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. It's okay. There's always tomorrow and tomorrow's card. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings by saying it didn't resonate. Yeah. And so this week, I said we have a lot going on for you guys this week. We have, starting tomorrow at noon, chakra sessions with Polly Jo LeBay. And she's talking about the Akashic Records on Tuesday. It's going to be a good one. And then we have this live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern time, the daily live stream. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern is my weekly show, Communications from Home. And we're doing the guided meditation, the Unity Breath. The last Tuesday of every month is when we do that meditation together. And so you could join me for that. Right. And then Wednesday, Polly Jo's back with Soul Connections. And that's on at 7 p.m. And that's all about healing and divine messages. She does card draw. And so if you enjoy getting a mini reading, you can join her on Wednesday evening. And then on Thursday, it's a big day on Thursday. Thursday, starting at 10:30 a.m., is Connie Shearwater, and she is the host of Spiritual Mysteries of Life, and she's talking about love and compassion Thursday morning. And then I'm thinking we're not going to do a daily live stream on Thursday because I produce 3 of the 4 shows on Thursday. And I'm thinking I'm going to take a break on my daily show on Thursday so that by the end of the day, I'm not feeling like, I just produced 4 shows. So I'm thinking about it anyway. And then at 4 p.m. Eastern time is Maureen Mann with Angel Therapy, and she's talking about mindfulness and the angels. And she's also doing card draws at the last probably 20 to 15 minutes of her show. Yeah, with the angels. 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday is the Mystery School with Orchard and Carl Franklin, and they're talking about Earth and Sun. So it's going to be a full week. You guys have a lot of options and shows and information and topics. And I hope you join us for some of those or maybe even all of them. Wouldn't that be grand? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have a good day too, Rochelle. And Rob is saying Lansing, Michigan has the curious property of having more horses rear ends than horses. Really? That's a designation that one shouldn't be too proud of. Um, with that, enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, okay? Bama Mina, that means in Potawatomi, until we see each other again. Love you guys.